Paropkarini Sabha. A need was felt by Swami Dayanand Saraswati for a central body which could control all the Arya Samajas scattered throughout the country. Each Arya Samaj was independent, and in case of a dispute, there was no central body to settle it. Also, he was keen on disseminating the knowledge of the Vedas in foreign countries, which could not be done by the local Samajas. The idea of establishing a central organization occurred to him at Meerut in 1880 and was translated into action at Udaipur on February 1883 with the establishment of the Paropkarini Sabha. The Maharana of Udaipur had become the disciple of Dayanand. The establishment of Paropkarini Sabha came about in the form of a will, which went, I, Dayanand Saraswati, entrust these 23 persons, the sole in charge of my clothes, books, money, the press, and write the Swikar Patra to use the same for altruistic purposes. The 23 persons mentioned in the will consisted of His Highness of Shahpura, Shyamji Krishna Verma, Mahadev Govind Ranade, among others. The Maharana of Udaipur, Sajjan Singh, was its president. Swami Dayanand Saraswati laid down the aims and objectives of this Sabha and also a constructive program for it. The financial assets of the Sabha were to be spent in the dissemination of the Vedas, Vedangas, and other like Shastras by fostering the commentary, study, teaching, hearing, and publication of these, for teaching and preaching of Vedic Dharma by organizing a body of teachers and lecturers to work in India and other countries so that truth may be accepted and falsehood rejected, and for providing of means and institutions for the protection, maintenance, and right training of the orphans and the destitute of India. Swami Dayanand Saraswati entrusted his press, books, and public money to this Sabha in his lifetime. He wished that in this Sabha, the rulers of states should come in direct contact with literate persons. He also wished to engage the princes of the states of Rajputana in public welfare by making them more conscious of their duty towards their subjects. The apex bodies. 2 months after the death of Swami Dayanand Saraswati, the first session of the Paropkarini Sabha was held at Ajmer on 28 December 1883. At this session, a proposal to establish Arya Pratinidhi Sabhas in the provinces was put up, as it was felt that without active bodies at provincial levels, fully elective and democratic, the Paropkarini Sabha would not be able to accomplish much. Consequently, the first Pratinidhi Sabha was formed in Punjab at Lahore in 1885. The Pratinidhi Sabha at United Provinces was formed on 29 December 1886 and that at Rajasthan was formed in 1888. In Punjab, a Dayanand Anglo-Vedic High School to promote both Vedic as well as English curricula was started in 1886 to commemorate the memory of Swami Dayanand Saraswati, which later became a college. Since the establishment of this institution, there were two opinions among the Arya Samajis regarding the courses to be taught here. Among the two patrons of the college, Pandit Guru Dutt advocated Vedic education in spite of his own education in English, and Lala Lal Chand was in favor of placing a special emphasis on English education despite his ardent faith in Vedas and in Swami Dayanand. This difference of opinion split the Arya Samaj community of Punjab, which was further polarized on the issue of meat diet. The group, which later became known as the College Party, that was led by Lala Lal Chand, Lala Hans Raj, and Lala Lajpat Rai, and had under its control the administration of the Dayanand Anglo-Vedic College, was opposed to putting a ban on meat diet, while the other group, known as the Mahatma group, led by Lala Munshi Ram, Pandit Lekram, and the ideas of the departed Pandit Guru Dutt, was opposed to English education and desired to stop meat diet. The two controversies grew so intense that a split took place in 1892, which resulted in the control of the Arya Pratinidhi Sabha by the Mahatma Group and that of the Dayanand Anglo-Vedic College by the College Party. The split resulted in the formation of the Arya Pradeshik Pratinidhi Sabha in 1894 in Lahore, which is now in Pakistan, in the name and style of Arya Pradeshik Pratinidhi Sabha, Punjab, Sindh and Balochistan. This Sabha was established by the College Party in 1892. With the formation of this Sabha, there were now two representative bodies in Punjab. However, the effect of the split remained confined to Punjab alone. In other provinces, there was only one Pratinidhi Sabha which held thorough control over the Samajic activities of the province. Sarvadeshik Arya Pratinidhi Sabha, the International Aryan League. With the formation of the Pratinidhi Sabhas, which worked on a provincial basis, the necessity of a central body which could form the nerve center of the Arya Samajas throughout the country was felt. The idea had begun to gain ground as early as 1884. It was in 1900 that the idea took a concrete form when an informal committee of 6 persons, including Munshi Ram, was later called Swami Shraddhanand, was appointed to frame a draft constitution and rules. However, it was only in 1908 that a final shape to the formation of such a body was given. On 25th September 1908, a meeting presided over by Pandit Bhagwan Deen was held, which was attended by the committee members as well as the presidents of the Pratinidhi Sabhas of Punjab, United Provinces and Central Provinces among others. The task of drafting and printing the rules and other necessary work was distributed to the noted members. It was also decided to hold the first meeting of the Sarvadeshik Sabha on 31st August 1909 at Delhi. 27 representatives were elected from the provinces to hold the meeting. Out of these, 7 each were elected from Punjab and the United Provinces, 4 each from Rajasthan and Bengal, 3 from Madhya Pradesh and 2 from Bombay. Bansidhar Sharma was elected as the first president of the Sarvadeshik Sabha. The Sabha was registered on 25th August 1914. However, the representatives of the Arya Pradeshik Pratinidhi Sabha, led by the college faction, refused to join this body due to squabbles between them and the Gurukul faction in Punjab. It was only later in 1960 that this group too joined the League. One of the aims of this Sabha was to establish a Mahavidyalaya or college to prepare Updeshaks to disseminate Vedic knowledge in India and abroad. It also took up the task of resolving disputes arising within the Pratinidhi Sabhas. Till 1934, 13 Arya Pratinidhi Sabhas, including those at Fiji, Mauritius, Suriname, and so on, were affiliated to this Sabha. By 1947, it became the central representative body of all the Arya Samajas, about 4,000 in India, Burma, Africa, Baghdad, Mauritius, Fiji, Trinidad, South America, and so on, with its seat in Delhi. The organizational framework of the Arya Samaj was very much, but not completely, akin to Christian ecclesiastical organizations. Also because the Arya Samaj was critical of the Christian missionary efforts and therefore rose in opposition to it, and in the process emulated much of its routine practices. It organized church-like temples or mandirs with weekly congregation services, which included prayer, praise, sermons, and thanksgiving. It took to evangelism and to proselytizing and introduced initiation ceremonies administered by the priests. This could be seen as an effort to provide a mechanism of checks and balances against the perceived intrusive impact of Christianity. After all, it advocated reforms in those areas of social life which were points of criticisms offered by the Christian missionaries, that is, child marriage, untouchability, idolatry, and polytheism. The most notable fact, however, was that the Arya Samaj was a constitutionally regulated democratic body. It met once a week for congregational service, which consisted generally of a homer, singing of hymns, prayer and sermon, and a lecture. The service could be conducted by any member, regardless of caste, whom the officers of the Samaj selected for the purpose. The Samaj did not ordain ministers or priests. Any layman could officiate at the services or at ceremonies and be asked to lecture. The weekly service meetings were open to the public, and no distinction was made between members and non-members. Anybody could come into the temple and occupy whatever seat he or she liked. Swami Dayanand's aim was not to preserve Gurudom or priesthood. The constitution of the Arya Samaj reflected this spirit. It clearly showed how liberal and democratic it was in its outlook. This was also perhaps one of the reasons for the disagreements between various members of the Samaj on various aspects. Lala Lajpat Rai believed that it was its very constitution that saved the Samaj from going under. It is precisely because of its constitution that the Arya Samaj still has vestiges of life in it, despite the rumblings of discord. By uprooting Gurudom, the Arya Samaj aimed at planting in the Hindu mind the value of freedom and the spirit of independent thinking. The Arya Samaj can, thus, be looked upon as an organization which rejected the principle of hereditary office and authority of the religious teacher and strove through active democratic organization for sacred and secular reform involving social service and charitable philanthropic activities. The first phase of the movement saw the establishment of primary units or local Arya Samajas. Each local unit was governed by the same rules for membership, probationary and effective, subscription, that is 1% of one's income, election rules, and weekly congregational meetings. Persons were admitted to effective membership, that is with the right to vote, after 11 months of probation. Thus, the Arya Samaj was a constitutionally regulated socio-religious organization. The members were expected to mold their personal lives according to the doctrinal principles of the Samaj and the teachings of Dayanand as presented in the Satyat Prakash. The second phase, beginning with 1886, saw the organization of provincial assemblies or the Arya Pratinidhi Sabhas. Local units were federated into these provincial assemblies and expected to contribute 10% of gross income to the latter, as well as to send one representative for every 10 members for 3-year terms. Organization of the International League, that is the Sarvadeshik Pratinidhi Sabha, happened in 1908, and in 1928 the Dharma Arya Sabha was formed to deliberate on and settle doctrinal issues and questions of creed. The Paropkarani Sabha was created as a trust during the lifetime of Swami Dayanand Saraswati to supervise propagation of the creed, organize Vedic education, restore and publish Vedic literature, and serve the poor.